From pinsinanutshell.com. Today I'm going to be talking about how I'm a terrible cook. No, actually, I'm going to be talking about how to get burned food or scorched food off of your pots and pans if you've accidentally burned your dinner in them. Like I did twice this week. So I'm going to show you the pots and pans I'm going to be working with. They are right here. This is probably the worst looking one. I've already tried to scrape off some of that scorched food with a knife, but it didn't really want to come off. I soaked it for 2 days and still didn't really want to come off, so decided to go to Pinterest and see if I could find something to help me out. This one I soaked for 2 days as well, and most of it actually did come off, but there's still some that is stuck on there. This one was a little bit different. It was more like flaking off because I think it kind of burned in a huge thick layer, so it was kind of flaking off, but there's still a lot of residue that you can see. And then this one was done quite a while back. It's actually been put through the dishwasher multiple times. This one was from popcorn that my husband made and burned. This one is the one we probably worked the hardest to try to get those off. We've used a Brillo pad and really scrubbed at it, and there's still a lot of those little spots left. So we're going to give some of these new methods a try. The pin that I'm going to be working from is by One Good Thing by Jilly.com. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. I found it on One Good Thing by Jilly.com, and from her post, the 10 best ways to clean burnt on food from your pots and pans. She talks about obviously 10 different ways to do this, so we're going to be using 3 of them. In this pot right here, in this little pan, I'm going to be using vinegar, and you just cover the bottom with vinegar, and then you boil it for 10 to 15 minutes, and then you should be able to kind of wipe it away. And this one, I'm doing basically the same thing with peroxide. And then this one, I'm going to be covering the bottom with about a cup, maybe 2 of baking soda, and then you cover it with water, just enough to cover it, and then you boil that for, I think it said 15 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to get everything poured in, and then we will start the boiling, and I will come back and show you how it's going. Okay, so again, these are the things that I'm using. I've got baking soda in one pan, distilled white vinegar in another, and hydrogen peroxide in the third. So I've poured in the ingredients and turned on the heat. This one is the baking soda pan, and you can see some of this stuff already came off. I think this one's probably going to work the best because that one probably wasn't really all that stuck on. It probably could have just wiped it with a Brillo pad and it would have come out. Oh, that's my baby. Hi, baby. And then this is the one that I'm using vinegar in. So I've got the vinegar in there, I've got the heat turned on, and none of them are boiling yet. This one's the peroxide, and I can hear that it's going to start boiling soon though. Oh, I think our baking soda is starting to simmer. Very interesting. I've never boiled baking soda. So I was supposed to let this simmer for 15 minutes or so. I don't know if I'm supposed to do it on high heat though. It doesn't really say. I'm just looking at it really quick. It just says to simmer. So we're just going to turn it down just a little bit to low heat. Usually when I simmer things, I simmer them on low heat. But as you know, I'm not the greatest cook, and I burn a lot of stuff, and I don't really want to burn this baking soda. So I'm going to turn it kind of low because it's boiling pretty quick, simmering pretty quick here. So I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. Oh, this is all kind of stinky. Turn on the fan. Now we've got, I think I just fogged up my camera. We're totally fogging up the camera. Back up. So, okay, they are all boiling now, so I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. I'm turning it down to like 4. So, we're just going to let these go for about 15 minutes, and then I'll come back and see what they look like. It was running out of liquid in the hydrogen peroxide one, so it was like kind of getting really dry. So I was like, well, I better add some more peroxide. So I poured it in, and as I poured it in, like almost every single fleck just came right off. Like it just, I wish I would have recorded it because it was awesome. Like they were all stuck on the bottom, and then they just went off. So like now, you can see that they're all like loose. I think it got all of them. So peroxide definitely works. That was awesome because those were the really, really stuck on ones. So I think this pan may be officially done, which is pretty awesome. It didn't even take 15 minutes. It was only boiling for like 7 minutes. If it was a bigger stain, it probably would need more. So definitely thumbs up on this one. Pretty awesome. I also I added some more water to the other ones because they were getting really dry too. So this one I just added a little bit more water to, and that one too. We've been boiling about 7 minutes now. This water's turning a little brown, so that's giving me hope that maybe that one will work too. So we'll come back in about 7 more minutes and see what they look like. Should probably mention is that it stinks really bad. Especially the vinegar, I can tell. And if you get too close, it kind of burns your eyes. And this one back down. I added a little bit more vinegar because it was getting dried out and I didn't want it to scorch the pan again. So anyways, it's been just the timer just went off, so it's been 15 minutes. So I'm going to rinse out the baking soda one and see how that looks without any scrubbing. I can see that there's some flecks in there, so it looks like it may have worked at least a little bit. We've got kids playing with lights. I'm going to turn on this light so that we've at least got some light. So I'm just going to rinse this out. I'm not going to scrub it at all right this second. And then we'll see what it looks like. Oh, look at that. It looks much better. You probably can't see with the water running through it. That light is a bad light to have. So you can see there's still a couple spots. It says you can repeat if necessary, but it also says to use a scrub brush. So I'm going to try that really quick and see how that goes. And I will come back and tell you what happens. You can see I've scrubbed it just a little bit, and all of the spots have come off with very minimal scrubbing. So I would say the vinegar worked, this was the baking soda. The baking soda worked pretty good. All of the spots came off. This was the one with the baking soda. So it worked pretty good. I would say that would definitely be considered a success. I don't see any spots left in there. It looks pretty much perfect. So that is a thumbs up for the baking soda. Pretty good. Okay, now I've come back to the vinegar. It's still boiling. It's been 15 minutes though, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour it out and see if this stuff will come off with some minimal scrubbing, just like the baking soda. So I'm gonna bring it over to the sink, dump it out. I'm just gonna rinse it a little bit and see what that's rinse it out just a little bit, see if any of it comes off with just rinsing, and that's the negative. So I'm going to go ahead and scrub it, and then I will come back and let you know how it turns out. I have scrubbed this pan pretty good, and it's still got quite a bit of scorched food stuck on there. So I'm going to say vinegar, not nearly as successful as baking soda, which was slightly less successful as hydrogen peroxide. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually boil this one with some hydrogen peroxide just to see if it comes off as easily as the other one that had been washed multiple times, because this is more of a fresh pan. So I'm going to see if the hydrogen peroxide will take off this little bit thicker type of food. So we'll see what happens with that. Hydrogen peroxide in, and I've turned the heat up, and so I'm just going to wait for it to start bubbling, and then I'll let it boil for probably 15 minutes, and then we'll check back and see how it looks. So it has been about 15 minutes of it boiling, and now I'm going to pour a little bit more peroxide in there just to see if it loosens like they did before, which it kind of is. So that's good. So I'm actually going to take this to the sink and scrub it a little bit now. I'm going to pour out what's in here, shake it around a little bit as I go, so it's kind of loosening it. It's kind of cool. So dump that all out, and then I'm just going to put some water in. Spray it a bit. That's actually getting most of it out, just like that. So now I'm just going to take my scrub brush and see if the rest of that will come out. And I'll come back in a sec. Okay, that worked really good. There's pretty much no black food left on there. You can see that my pan's a little discolored, but I think that that is probably permanent. But all of the black and burned on food just wiped right off. I didn't really have to scrub it all. I just kind of wiped it off. So I think that peroxide is definitely my favorite method. It seems to work the best. So there you go. Hopefully one of those methods will work for you if you've got some burned food. Hey guys, Alicia here again from pinsinanutshell.com. Just going to do a quick recap and give our nutshell rating. So overall, I would say that my favorite method for cleaning the scorched food off of my pans was definitely hydrogen peroxide. I would definitely give that a 5 nutshell rating. It was super easy. I didn't have to scrub the first pan at all. It just came right off. When I poured the extra peroxide in, it just came right off and no scrubbing at all. The second time I used it, it definitely loosened it way more, and I barely had to scrub it at all, and it just came right off. So I would definitely say that was my favorite method. It was quick and easy, and it was definitely a 5 nutshell approval rating. Number 2, I would say, was the baking soda method. That was probably a 4 nutshell approval rating because it still worked pretty good. I did have to scrub just a little tiny bit, but it was still pretty easy and it didn't require a lot of scrubbing, so definitely still a 4 nutshell rating. And the third of all was the vinegar. I wasn't as impressed with the vinegar. It didn't remove it hardly at all, and I scrubbed it a bunch really hard and it still didn't come off. A little bit of it did, but it wasn't super great, and it smelled really bad while I was using it, and I put my head over it a little bit just to kind of check it out, and it was like burning my eyes. It was really stinky, and so I think that is my least favorite method. I would probably only give that a 3 nutshell rating, and that was probably because I suppose it could have worked better if maybe the pan wasn't so dirty, because that was the dirtiest pan, so there's a chance it may have worked better on an easier pan. So I'm still going to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a 3 nutshell approval rating. So anyways, check us out on pinsinanutshell.com so you can see more of our posts and the other things that we've tested out for you from Pinterest. And we hope you guys have a great day. See you later.